Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Maria. This is a channel about spirituality. Please subscribe below to see more videos like this one. Today, we're going to be talking about cord cutting. Cord cutting is a very important practice. It is spiritual hygiene, if you will. And there's a lot of talk in spiritual circles about how to do cord cutting. I figured today I would offer my perspective. Hopefully, it would empower some of you. It would shed the light on the energetic exchange between people for some of you as well. Okay, so usually cord cutting comes up in conversation when we're talking about romantic relationships. So cord cutting with your exes as a means of stopping that energy exchange. This is something that very often would get advised. If you go to a healer or, somebody that sees energy, very often what would come up is, okay, you still have cords that go back to your ex or multiple exes, and it's an energy exchange. I would say that especially for women tend to be donors in relationships to some degree. Please don't take this the wrong way, guys. Energetic donors. Usually men are more the providers in the material sense, and women are the providers in the energetic sense. And so very often, it is important for women, once you are no longer in a relationship with a person, to cut the cords that connect you, lest you still serve as a donor to a person that you haven't been in a relationship with for many, many years. Let me preface, though, this by saying, before I tell you how to actually cut the cords, and before we go into the intricacies of relationships and the different cords that we develop with different people, here is what's important to understand. It is impossible to cut the cords that serve you. Let me say that again. It is impossible to cut the cords that serve you because they're going to rebuild themselves back. And that is what I find very often with people who are struggling to, quote unquote, get rid of the energy of their ex in their life. They would cut the cords, and then you look at it a week later and the cords are intact. Why does this happen? When we're physically done with a relationship, we're not always emotionally done with a relationship. We're not always mentally done with a relationship. We're not always energetically done with a relationship. Every relationship, especially a deep romantic attachment that we have in our life, serves a purpose. They're not random. They're all pre-programmed. Because they're not random, they have a place in our life. So for whatever reason, that thing had to happen with you in the way that it happened. Very often, by maintaining an energetic cord, you are still maintaining a connection with that person. And subconsciously, you want that connection for whatever reason. Maybe it reminds you of the good memories that you guys shared. Maybe the connection that you shared with that person was very unique or peculiar and very different from your other relationships. And because of that, you almost want to keep an energetic bookmark to almost remember how it feels. It may serve you in other ways. It may be nurturing it. A past relationship that you have may be boosting your self-esteem today. Right? Maybe the person that you dated was, oh my God, so amazing. And they were this and they were that and they were the other thing. And, you were really proud of that relationship. So, that relationship may no longer be in your life, but the energetic cord is still there and it would be feeding you that sense of pride today. So the first thing that I want to say is there are cords out there that serve you. With your exes, with your former best friends, with your even arch nemesis, for God's sake, because all of the people that have a deep impact on your body and in your life, you have cords with. And enough of them serve you long after that relationship is done and gone. When cutting cords, it is important to understand that unless you're truly able, willing, and ready to let go of the relationship, unless you really, truly do let it go, then cutting the cords is a useless exercise. Because again, they're going to rebuild themselves within 3 hours. Okay, now that that is out of the way, Now that cautionary tale is out of the way, why don't we get to the nitty-gritty? So, as you guys will know, there are 7 main chakras in the body. When you are in a relationship with someone, and it doesn't really matter whether that is romantic or otherwise, you will build bridges between yourself and that other person via one or many of the chakras, one or a few of the chakras. The absolute basic relationships are based on one energy exchange. So there would be one bridge connecting your 2 chakras with another person. Very deep relationships have 3 and more chakras connected. Usually it's the connection is established between the same chakras. So heart to heart, throat to throat, third eye to third eye, crown to crown, root to root, if that makes sense, right? It's not going to be that my heart is connected to your throat. Like, that is not going to happen. That would be quite a disbalance. Usually it's a bridge between equals, so that makes sense. Different connections that you have with different people, depending on the kind of relationship that you have, your bridges are going to be very, very different. For instance, you would have a bridge into the root chakra with both of your parents. By the way, whether your parents are alive or dead, doesn't really matter. You would have a relationship with a root chakra because that is your survival center. Who do we depend on for survival when we're little babies? Our parents, our caretakers. So usually, let me go really quickly about the different chords and the different relationships that you may have with people. If your reds are connected, this is about survival. This is about safety. Sometimes this would be with people who got married, for instance, and it was like an arranged marriage or something, or it wasn't like a love match, but they knew that 2 salaries is better than 1. They would have a red chakra connection. Orange is a sexual connection. Either a sexual connection or when you're creating together, like co-creating together. Like, let's say you're partners in crime and you're running an art studio together. You would be connected through the sacral. Yellow is status. Your power couples are usually connected through yellow. Or sometimes it's also somebody who boosts your self-confidence. So any relationships that really impact your self-concept would be in the yellow chakra. The relationships that are heart and love, like heart-led, obviously are going to be heart-to-heart, meaning when you're in love with somebody, truly in love with somebody, or romantically, or when you have love, unconditional love for a best friend of yours, you would have a heart-to-heart connection. Usually these are the relationships where they're very sincere. You don't feel judged in those relationships. You feel embraced. That's why it's unconditional, right? That's the heart connection. Throat is usually when the line of communication is really, really strong, right? So it's either a lot of friend relationships actually are in the throat center, or couple relationships that do a lot of healing together because you have to communicate, right? Couples that communicate very well together, their throats are going to be intertwined, so to say. Third eye and crown are a lot more rare on this planet. Usually somebody who's connected at the crown, two beings that are connected to the crown, that is your soul family, like your immediate soul family. That is pretty much one of the very few reasons why you would be connected to the crown. And somebody who's connected to the third eye is usually you have some spiritual, like a spiritual mission together, or some other type of spiritual kind of like bigger than life connection. Sometimes karmic connections are going to come through either through the throat or through the third eye, depending on the karmic connection. So these are all the ties you could possibly have with a person. So if you're trying to cut cords with an ex or a former friend or an arch nemesis of yours, it doesn't really matter, and you're cutting just one cord, but there are 3 connecting points or 4 connecting points, then you didn't really do anything. The bridges are still there. You may also notice that with some people, certain bridges are easier to burn than others. It may be that, you have 5 connections with a person, and there is this one last cord that's really, really hard to cut. If you notice that you are cutting something and it's really, really hard to cut, it may be a sign that you are benefiting from that relationship and you have no business cutting that cord, so keep it. In all other instances, the way you cut the cords is you imagine the person standing right in front of you. You should state your intention to let go and start with a essentially let go and start with a clean slate. It is really, really important to speak that intention into existence so that the rest of the universe gets in line. And then you imagine yourself having a sword of light or scissors of light, and you would go bridge by bridge, connection by connection. For those of you that have a very developed third eye, you're going to be able to see exactly where you are connected with a person. Where are the cords? Where are the energetic cords? If you see them, just cut the ones that you see. If you don't see anything, cut all 7. You need to make 7 cuts. That's the only way to make sure that you truly did cut everything. Then, once you did cut, imagine those cords receding. So like the cords, the half of the cord would go into the body of the person that you're trying to break ties with. And another cord is going to come back to you. That is not all. That is we just scratched the surface of cord cutting, you guys. Second thing you need to do is reverse the energy exchange. Every relationship is an energy exchange. You give, you receive. If you are truly wanting somebody out of your life, then the best thing that you can do is take back your energy that you have given to that person and give their energy back to them. Imagine that each of you has empty vessels, empty receptacles next to you. And then when you are returning that energy, watch as your receptacles, your empty vessels, are filling up with energy. It usually would look golden or blue or yellow. Sometimes it's white, different energies come back. Although it may be a different color, but that's just what's normal or what I see the most. And then same thing happens, right? Like you have to give back the energy that person gave to you over to them so it's fair and square, right? You cannot be the one keeping all the energy and then they're left with nothing. That is not a fair exchange. Last but not least, one thing that we don't ever do, or like I pretty much have never heard this done, but I know it's paramount. Do you know, guys, like when you need to, let's say you have a computer and you want to give your computer to your mother. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't just hand her your computer with all of your files and all of your passwords and all of the access to all of your social media on that computer. Like I'm just, God bless you if you have that relationship with your mother, like more power to you. But most people would not want to do that. So you would want to wipe your computer, right? Like you would want to reset it, reinstall maybe the operating system, etc., so that she gets quote unquote fresh computer and you don't have to share any of your files with you. When we're clearing away a relationship, what I find is we don't do the same in relationships. So every relationship has multiple collective spaces that we create with another person. Yes, we share a physical space. Then we also share an energetic space. We share an emotional space and we share a mental space. I find that we must clear the energetic, the emotional, and the mental spaces if we are truly to get rid of the karma, baggage, or not even the karma, but at least the baggage, the emotional baggage from this relationship. So you would want to imagine 3 spheres of light, each sphere representing one of the bodies. The energetic again, the emotional, and the mental. And then, in a meditative state, you close your eyes and you imagine that you have this giant eraser. And you start with the energy body. And you go in and you clear up your collective energetic space until literally it's a blank slate. It feels like a blank canvas. Then you move on to the emotional body. Take the eraser and erase everything that's inside. Otherwise, you're going to have all these memories pulling you back. And by the way, not even memories, but like ties, shall I say, emotional ties. You will still, obviously, you will still retain your memories no matter what. In the Akashic records, everything is written up. Don't worry. But at least those are going to be, it's almost going to be like a book that you read instead of like this massively charged relationship that you lived. Last but not least, the mental space. All of the mental constructs, all of the things that mentally remind you about this person, erase it. Only then would I consider that the cords are truly cut. And again, none of this would matter if you're getting some type of payoff from maintaining an energetic relationship with this person. Because an energetic relationship is still a relationship. Sometimes when we're not able to have a physical relationship with somebody, we have an energetic relationship. What do I mean by that? And I guess, why does it matter? Some people try to use cord cutting as a means of forgetting somebody or falling out of love with somebody. It doesn't work that way. I hate to say this, because again, those cords are going to rebuild themselves back, right? So really, truly only use the cord cutting when you're ready to let go of the person. And then that would be really all dusted and settled and like spring cleaned, and you can move on to greener pastures. But until you're there, try to get the closure, right, that you need in whichever way, shape, or form. Get the closure first, cord cutting later. Alrighty, my darlings, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have other, practices that you've used for cord cutting, or if you want to share any stories from your life around, your exes or the payoff that you got from not having a relationship. I'm really curious to learn. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.